Hello friends, welcome back to the lecture on chromatography. In this session, we will discuss about paper chromatography. It is a technique in which analysis of an unknown substance is carried out mainly by the flow of solvent on specially designed filter paper. The stationary phase is a film of liquid adsorbed on a paper mat made up of highly purified cellulose. The mobile phase is a partially miscible or immiscible liquid percolating over it. The separation of components is because each component has a different partition coefficient value. The component with highest value migrates slowly, while the one with lower value tends to migrate at a faster rate. This eventually results in separation of components. In order to carry out this separation, we need a strip of paper, preferably Whatman filter paper. Why do we use Whatman filter paper? This is because generally they are reproducible with respect to porosity and thickness. This paper acts as a support onto which the liquid that acts as a stationary phase is adsorbed. Water adsorbed on a paper is a commonly used stationary phase. A sample solution is spotted near the lower edge of the paper strip and dried. This strip is then suspended on a glass cylinder with the lower end just dipping in the mobile phase contained in the solvent trough. During this process, we need to make sure that the sample spot is above the level of the solvent. The solvent rises by capillary action of the paper, and various components of the mixture are carried with it at different rate. The different components are distributed between mobile and stationary phase in accordance with the value of partition coefficient of each component. As a result of this process, each of the component is concentrated at different distance from the sample spot. In other words, they are distributed by zones and a chromatogram is obtained. If the components are colored, these zones are visible to the naked eye. Otherwise, visualizing reagents that form colored compounds is sprayed onto the paper to detect it. The paper strip is then removed, solvent front marked, and then it is dried. As can be seen here, the spotted paper strip with stationary phase adsorbed onto it is hanged vertically over the solvent reservoir containing the mobile phase. Different components are also clearly separated into zones, as can be seen very clearly. The solvent front is also clearly seen. The degree of retention of a particular component is expressed as retention factor or retardation factor RF. It is the ratio of the distance travelled by a particular component to the distance travelled by the solvent front during the same time. This is the RF value. In the image of the chromatogram, the distance travelled from the sample spot to the component is denoted by A, and the distance travelled by the solvent front is denoted by B. As you can see here, this is the distance travelled by the component and this is the distance travelled by the solvent front, which are denoted by A and B. So to calculate the RF value, we have to divide A by B. RF value depends upon the solvent employed, temperature, nature of the substance, and quality of the medium used for separation. In other words, if all the conditions are alike, that is, solvent employed, temperature, quality of medium is fixed, then retention or retardation factor is a characteristic of the substance. That means that it can be used for qualitative analysis or identifying a substance. As paper chromatography is a simple, rapid and inexpensive technique that offers excellent resolving power, It finds application in a variety of fields. It is used for rapid separation and identification of the sample compound in trace amounts. It is very useful in separation of closely related compounds and in resolution of isomeric metal complexes. It is also used to check the purity of organic chemicals, detect impurities in pharmaceutical and food products, both in the laboratory and in the industry. It is also used to detect drugs and dopes in biochemical samples and in quality control analysis of cosmetics. They are also used in determination of metals in ore samples. Thank you.